My Screencastify is supposed to count down, and it just hasn't been, and it's bugging me. So just in here, I'm not even ready for it. I also promised Kim that I'd make some weird video with a sock puppet, and frankly, my creative juices are tapped, and I'm out of time. So you just kind of get me monologuing about my answers instead. I promise next time I'll get weird with it. But when I'm thinking about prompt A, my preferred mode here, I need to pull up the UDL elements. It was 7.1, optimized choice and autonomy, which was designed under design options for welcoming interest and identities. That I really value choice, autonomy, in my own learning because I'm a processor. It actually helped. I'm not sure if I did this subconsciously, but it actually helps me a lot to be able to look down here and see Vanessa, Debbie, and Kim's answers before I go to answer, because it helps me reflect, helps me see how they applied it to their own thinking, knowing what I know about them as colleagues. And so having that autonomy and the option to create a video, to talk about the way I experience this really, really helps me because I'm a talker. And if we haven't met, you're going to learn that very quickly. And so I need to be given the option to talk out my ideas, talk at something, talk with someone, because that's just how I solidify and make meaning of information. I mean, to that end, I almost chose, there's one in here about multiple ways to make meaning. Oh, I just saw it. Doesn't really matter. Support multiple ways to perceive information, multiple ways to make meaning of information. That's really important to me because I need to apply it in a bunch of different settings. And so I have a tendency to prioritize choice and autonomy. And what I really like about number 7.1, optimize choice and autonomy, is that word optimize. Choice and autonomy does not mean you do whatever you want and you do it alone. That, to me, optimization of that is the appropriate amount of facilitation, because if I'm just on my own all the time, I don't do my best work. I need to be strategically solo working, strategically collaboratively working, and I just really value that in my experience. For the one that's least important to me is anticipate and planning for challenges. And my colleagues down there who are much better people than I am and much more empathetic, kind of said things about, I see how this actually, no, I really liked what Kim said here, which is they're all important to me. Every other region didn't seem more important. This one didn't seem as important, but she still recognized the importance for this. To be totally transparent, so anticipate and plan for challenges is under design options for strategy development, and it's specifically number 6.2. This is the most frustrating part of any work that I do as a learner, because I get very impatient very, very quickly when we spend a lot of time not actually doing the work and just thinking about things that could go wrong. I do recognize the value and importance of doing that a little bit, but I just have such little patience for that. I just like to do the work and then face those challenges head on and work through them in the process, and I really value that. So I'm really working on being self-reflective and recognizing that other people put more value on that than I do, and they need that for their own process of learning. But for me, I don't think about all the things that could go wrong first. I just dig into the work, and then I approach those things as I go, and I work through that because that's just my process. And then as an educator, as a facilitator of professional learning, the thing that I want to focus on the most with my learners, with teachers, and as I'm working with students, is that individual and collective reflection, which is, should have looked at the numbers before I started doing this, 9.3. So it's under design options for emotional capacity. I'll put the numbers next to those under the text there. But the individual and collective reflection, I think, is super important because that's where we solidify our learning. And it's also the thing that we skip the most. So in the professional development that I've done already this year, I have made a point to underplan as much as I can. And if like my training ends at 1 o'clock, then I actually wrap up my instructional delivery at 12:50, which this isn't blowing any minds. This is something I should have been doing my entire career. And we save that last 10 minutes for questions and reflection and feedback, as opposed to like trying to cram it in there at the end. And in my past practice, I've always really tried to get the information out there. But then we rob ourselves of that really, really important reflection time where we make meaning, we apply that on an individual level, and that's really powerful. So that's something that I know is important and I do really value. I just need to get better at.